Thank you.
At the request of Richard Quigley's family, the funeral began as a private affair. Newsmen were told to keep away as the cortege made its way through the Bogside. An army helicopter kept a close watch, even though the family had made it clear they wanted no terrorist trappings at the funeral. The 20-year-old IRA man died when he was caught in the blast of the bomb he intended for security forces patrolling the Foyle embankment. Father Jimmy Shields, a relative, said Mass at Long Tower Chapel before burial at the city cemetery. A couple of hours later, 3 masked and uniformed IRA men slipped into the cemetery well after most mourners had gone. They fired some 30 shots at the graveside and spread the tricolour over it.
Before 4 o'clock, the explosion occurred in a derelict flat in the Rossville Street complex in the Republican Bogside. There were angry scenes when help arrived for the injured men. An ambulance man suffered head injuries. As the injured men were being carried away by colleagues and ambulance men, they came under attack from local youths who'd gathered to throw petrol bombs. After the explosion, a man living nearby with his young family tried to help the injured, but he was shouted at by local people.
I made my way out to the Bogside here to see if I could help a soldier that was laying injured. Apparently he had lost his leg in the explosion, you know. And just met with a lot of abuse here, you know, slagging, you know, but the man was laying, he was critically injured, you know.
After a recent fire in the building, many of the residents had moved out. Sinn Féin, the political wing of the Provisional IRA, had claimed in Londonderry that derelict buildings were being used by the security forces as observation posts.
The trouble broke out tonight in the Republican stronghold of the Bogside, where gangs of masked youths appeared and began pelting the police with petrol bombs. Many RUC Land Rovers were hit in a fierce bombardment which lasted 2 hours. A car being used by a BBC camera crew was hijacked at gunpoint to be used as a barricade. The police moved in to shift it and came under attack again. Eventually it was cleared from the streets. The police made the first determined effort to get rioters away from the area, and they were followed by the army. As the soldiers withdrew from the street, several plastic bullets were fired at rioters. The security forces anticipate such trouble on the day the Apprentice Boys march in Londonderry, but admitted they were surprised by the scale of this year's disturbances. As usual in the most divided city in a divided province, they have to cope with the results of sectarian hatred.
Trouble flared in the middle of the afternoon in Rossville Street in the Bogside. Gangs of youths hijacked vehicles and carried out attacks with petrol bombs. Plastic bullets were fired by the security forces, but no one was reported injured. Tension had been building up in the city all day, but it wasn't till the afternoon that it spilled over into violence. Violence that in the Gobner Scale area involved shots being fired at the police. Fire was returned by the army, but again it's thought no one was hurt.
Respect of which must not give place in accordance with Provisions, Article 3, Public Order, and Order.
The find was made early yesterday evening in a storeroom in a block of flats at Glenfadder Park in the Bogside. Local people say police appear to be acting on a tip-off. Police say the discovery was made during a search operation. When police got inside the locked and boarded-up storeroom, they found 3/4 of a tonne of nitrogen-based fertiliser packed into 13 bags. It's the main ingredient of homemade explosives, and police say it was a large enough quantity to have made a £1,600 bomb. Homemade explosives have often been used by the IRA in Derry. The IRA bomb, which devastated the city's main tax office 3 weeks ago, contained homemade explosives. Police don't know whether this quantity of fertiliser would have been used for one large bomb or several smaller ones. Either way, police say the IRA could have wreaked havoc, and they say they have good reason to believe the explosives would have been used in what they describe as a city centre Christmas bombing blitz.
All the indications and hallmarks there was indeed the intention of the provisional IRA to take the heart out of this city. After all, a lot of effort has been put into this city by the traders and by the Chamber of Commerce to give this city a heart. I believe it was for the provisional IRA to take that heart out of the city.
Do you believe you have now prevented that happening?
No, one never can say they've prevented it from happening. One can say they've thwarted the efforts of the terrorists from perhaps having an increase in their campaign of taking on commercial targets.
This year, local traders have made a concerted effort in the run-up to Christmas to generate as much business as possible in a city badly hit by unemployment. They say they're relieved that a terrorist attack's been thwarted.
The last thing we want is any form of disruption or bombing in this city at Christmas. We've made a big effort to brighten it up. Things are going well for us and we want to keep it that way.
Are you concerned that this news might put people off coming here?
Not at all. We're not concerned at all. The police have their job to do. They've done it. I have my job to do, and my job is to tell you that this city is moving. People are happy within the city. It's a safe place to be, probably safer than Belfast or Dublin. So let them keep coming. Spend their money here.
We came here to share with all people a prayer of peace, to hold a ceremony of peace. I think it's important that we should pray for all three nations, or the two nations of Ireland and Britain, for the children's sake, for the future of both countries, that the children will have a world, so that we can come with our hearts and put our hearts together in a sense, and work together to make a better world for the children.